Just when you thought the turbulence was over, Europe comes back to save the day. A Spanish bank was just about to fail, and the technocrats stepped in to ensure the too big to fail policy is implemented. Any corporation deemed too important to the economy must be bailed out at any cost. The dominoes continue to fall. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to exclusively keep an eye on the issue of Spain and its bailout. Guess what? For €1. You're looking at this. Santander buys Banco Popular for €1 after rival deemed likely to fail. This is huge news because it shows the problems are not over. In fact, they are simply getting worse. And Europe is doing terribly at this time. I need to remind everyone of that. Just because it's not so much in the news, it is extremely important. They had this overnight auction for the nominal amount of €1 after the ECB determined the ailing lender was near collapse. This is something that has been the case for quite some time after the financial crisis. Then we had the euro viral contagion is what I call it, or the sovereign debt crisis, where the debt mounted to a point where they simply could not dig themselves out of it. And here we are left with this mess. The ECB put in these measures in order to steal the wealth from people. They're doing a great job of that. This right here is the stock. You can see that it is basically at a failed rate right now at this time. You're seeing the 10-year chart, and lo and behold, a complete decline. This shows the weakness of this particular stock, but it is simply just one piece of the puzzle. This is what's happening in Europe. It's declining. It's getting worse. It is rotting. And this is what we'll see many times herein for the future. Now, looking at this New York Times article, it basically breaks it down. I'll cover it very quickly. After the global financial crisis, Europe built a system designed to contain the collateral damage from the failing banks. They expected more to happen. That the new system appeared to pass its first test on Wednesday. Not true, as authorities efficiently dispatched a troubled Spanish lender. They're suggesting that this is the 5th largest bank, and they made such a good attempt to bail it out. They did a great job. This is so wonderful, and everything is now just fine. Well, I would suggest quite the opposite. This shows the weakness, once again, of the banking system. And here we are seeing how bad it really is. Out of Reuters. European authorities stepped in to avert a collapse of Spain's Banco Popular following the run on the bank. Wait a minute. A run on the bank? That's impossible. You can't have a run on the bank. We have protections in place. We have insurance. We have all these different policies and procedures that have been put in place since the financial crisis to prevent it from happening. How's that possible? Well, of course, the bank runs always occur. They've been happening many times before. They will continue to happen in the future. The banking system is weak. It's rotting. And this is a very clear example of that. This was a last-minute rescue. They did it quickly. I'm sure we'll find out some more details in the near future, showing us how crazy this banking system is. It truly is crazy. And the bondholders face losses of €2 billion, as well as the shareholders. They're asking the shareholders for €7 billion. This is important because you're looking at everybody taking losses, which is fine in a way, but why not fix the problems like years ago? Why didn't they in 2013, let's say, sit down and say, look, this is what we have to do. We have to fix the problem. Let's get it sorted out. But of course, that's not going to happen. It doesn't happen like that ever. And you just use this as an opportunity to take advantage of the crisis, and you see further liberty lost, further wealth lost, and unfortunately, it is siphoned to the hands of the technocratic elite. Looking at this right here, This is Spain's unemployment rate. While it has declined recently, you are looking at 18.4%, and that's the official numbers. You're seeing the rot. You're seeing that taking place in Spain, just one example of many. Then Spain's youth unemployment rate, while it has come down again in recent years, look, we're talking about 40% youth unemployment rate. It is at epidemic levels, but don't show that in the mainstream media. Hide that. Just show the beautiful structures that you see of Spain, the artwork and everything else. Don't show the truth. This here is out of Bloomberg. Spain will seek to merge these two lenders nationalized in the fallout from the country's property bust and shall sell shares in the combined bank to recoup their bailout costs. Always trying to capitalize on these events and always, unfortunately, not doing anything for the people. This is part of the sovereign debt crisis. This actually was, in fact, just a few months ago. I didn't actually cover it at that time, but here we are today. This is a crisis that is ongoing. Just because the mainstream media doesn't bring it out and stuff it in front of your face, that doesn't mean it's not happening. That doesn't mean it's not true. This is going on today. So that is just one example. And then what I wanted to bring to you is the fact that I talked about this in my book. I talked about it in 2012 when I released the first book, and actually before that technically. And then I talked about it again in my new book. I'm actually showing you the Global Economic Collapse, my new release, but I'm referencing the first book. And what I said was this: during the massive political upheaval which occurred in Greece, the crisis clearly exposed the rotting core of the EU. The Money GPS explicitly predicted that the euro viral contagion would continue to spread to Spain and Italy. So check this out. This is a quote. Ireland, Greece, and Portugal have all received bailouts to keep their economies afloat. The eyes are now on Spain and Italy as the cracks have begun to show in their markets as well. Then I also said in a different quote, different page, there is contagion in the system, therefore we can expect more bailouts to occur. Doesn't take a genius to figure that one out, but I put it in black and white. Inevitably, the ECB began buying bonds of countries, including Spain and Italy, to prevent a complete collapse. The system is dying. They're using things like the ESM in order to try and stabilize it, but all they do is take debt and repackage it and repurpose it. You can take garbage and you can put a pretty bow on top of it, but I assure you, it's still garbage. And what's the solution to all of this? What are the governments doing? Well, they're making these kind of laws. Madrid bans manspreading on its public transport. While we have real problems to discuss, while we have people that are unemployed at this time, we have laws being created to prevent manspreading. While you may not agree with manspreading and you may think this is something that does need to not happen, do you think for a second that there is some more pressing issues to deal with? Well, you tell me. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found this video informative, I know you will find my books. My first one, The Money GPS, and my new release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can actually flip through the books at Amazon. They're also available at other retailers. I've got the audiobook for Global Economic Collapse available at themoneygps.com. I've got now the t-shirts going. So if you want to check that out, head over to themoneygps.com. Click on the store link. You can see that over there. And that's it. Take care. If you're still here, just a little inside scoop. I had a little blooper. I actually recorded this entire video. It was probably twice as long, got into even more detail. And when I went to go hit the stop button, I realized I wasn't recording at all. So this is actually take number 2. I hope you enjoyed that. Thumbs up for the bloopers. Take care.